My name's Nathan Britt. I'm from Nathan Britt Table Tennis. I'm a YouTuber trying to grow table tennis in the US. Can you tell me who you are and what's your role in table tennis community?
My name is Anders Lind. I'm a professional player. I'm ranked top 30 in the world now for almost 2 years straight. I love to do online content as well, and I try to be really publicly and very engaging to the table tennis community and fan base.
How did you get into table tennis?
When I was very little, my parents used to play, so they would take me to my grandparents' basement and teach me how to play, and that's how it started. And then a few years after doing that for fun, I started in a local club and played ever since.
What do you think are some of the key milestones in your career?
Yeah, I mean, the first one was I played this Euro Mini Champs. It's essentially a European championship for under 10-year-olds or 11-year-olds. And I had never really played any international tournaments until that point. And then I won it and I was like, oh, holy shit, I'm actually better than I thought I was. And it gave me a lot of confidence. Then I had my, actually 10 years later at the Team European Championship after my car accident. This was also very important for me to get back, and gave me a lot of confidence to continue and believe.
And then obviously, of course, when you beat Wang Chuqin, I'm sure that was another big one.
Yeah, of course. Both Olympics and also this result in China was both extreme milestones that I'm proud of, and I hope I can repeat a few times more in my career.
What do you feel like have been some of your biggest challenges in your table tennis career, and how do you feel like you overcame them?
I mean, the part about discipline has always been difficult. Still working on it. It's much better now than 5 years ago, and 5 years ago it was better than 10 years ago, but it's always there where I feel like the limit is set in my capability of keeping that.
What do you mean by discipline? Like training?
Not just everything in general. Of course, if you want to be a good athlete, you have to shape your life around it and not live life as what other people might do. But you kind of have to do that, and sometimes I'm not completely successful in doing that.
Sometimes you prefer to live more like a normal person.
Yeah.
I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. And to still be top 30 in the world, I think
it's
you
good
might
for
be.
Life.
Yeah, you might be having a good life in the top 30.
Yeah, it's fine.
What drives your passion for table tennis? What keeps you coming back?
Well, of course, the competition. I like winning, and of course, when I put so much time and effort into table tennis, this is the part of my life where I care about winning the most. The feeling when you win is so high that even when you have some lows, it still wins by a milestone. That's definitely the biggest one that keeps me entertained and going.
Can I talk to you a little bit about what it's like representing Denmark on the international stage?
Sure.
How's that been for you, representing a smaller country? I see you guys in the WTT events often playing without coaches. You guys are coaching each other. What's that like for you as professionals?
Yeah, the only way that it's good is that when I was worse and not really very good yet, I still had a spot in the national team and I had opportunities to play big tournaments. In every other aspect, it's not good, of course, with the budget and everything, that we don't have coach for every single tournament. Like a lot of the big countries, they come with physio, they come with a full team around them to make sure that they can perform to the best of their capabilities. And this we don't have at all. Of course, this gives an edge where we have to find it somewhere else, which is hard. This is bad. And of course, we don't really have that many good and top players. So practicing in Denmark, when I'm there practicing for camps before big tournaments, the sparring is of course not as good as it could be if we were a bigger nation with more players.
I feel like you guys kind of can relate to what we're dealing with here in the US, where not necessarily from a size perspective, but from a popularity perspective,
Yeah.
What are you guys doing in Denmark to try to grow table tennis locally? I'm sure you're not. I mean, you're on the professional level. You don't have time for that. But are there initiatives in Denmark?
Not really.
Not really? What do you think has been the biggest barriers to table tennis's growth?
That Denmark is so insanely good at so many other sports that even when we make good results in table tennis, it doesn't really do anything for the media, or it doesn't shine through,
Definitely.
That's how sports viewed, in the television, or now it's Olympics or World Championship, and it's a World Championship final of some sport, and our country, okay, I like that sport, I'm going to try it myself. But when Mia Jona is playing a Grand Smash quarterfinal or a World Championship quarterfinal, we have handball who won gold 4 times in a row now, and badminton who won Olympic gold twice in a row. Like, it shines so hard that we can't really get into the limelight.
Yeah, it's kind of like us with basketball. You can't compete with it here. Basketball and football, you can't beat it.
Even if Kanak made world semis, I don't think it would be at all big.
For sure. He just beat Truls, and I feel like it's been pretty big, but, I get what you're saying. Like, it's nothing compared to what you would see,
Exactly.
Even a smaller upset, even in the basketball world, the NFL world would be much more heavily covered by the population here. What do you think that players, clubs, and fans can do locally to contribute to making table tennis more popular and go up against other sports?
I think WTT needs to have the viewing angle that everyone prefers. This is very important. Now, actually, for the upcoming season, they have have done a few changes to the system that are really good for the players. So this is a good start. And the clubs and stuff. The important thing is that when you have children playing and practicing, you need to make sure that they enjoy and they have fun. If then they later, after already enjoying the sport, want to try and push even harder and do something more serious, okay, there needs to be a space for that. But in the beginning, you need to keep them entertained and keep them enjoying it. Otherwise, they will quit and you will lose potential superstars because they don't enjoy playing because of their first impression from a club.
I feel that happens so frequently here in Atlanta. I see that happening constantly, where the coaches are just drilling their students. It's 100%. I totally agree with you there. So your thoughts on table tennis in Denmark? What's working over there, and what do you think you guys can improve on?
Not really anything's working. We don't have a system. We don't have tradition. We have nothing. If there is the most talented player ever seen in the world who's 9 years old and wants to be the best, he has no chance of becoming it in Denmark.
So what do you think, that the best choice is just to move to another country?
Yeah,
Definitely?
Move as soon as possible. And that's what every single player from Denmark who has achieved anything has done.
Yeah, same thing with us. Most of the time, the players here, now we have MLTT, which is making a difference. You know, I think we're keeping our American players on American ground more now. Before MLTT, often every single time we had a player reach, 27, 2800 here, straight to Germany, straight to Sweden, immediately they're off to Europe.
Yeah.
And that's where they stay. We don't see them again until, Olympics, something like that. It's just a tough place to be in when it's not a major sport in your country. And I think Denmark, you guys definitely can relate.
Yeah.
How do you think that social media has helped you as a player?
I don't really think it has helped me as a player in terms of level or performance. I just, it makes me happy to do it, that's why I do it. I really enjoy doing it. It brings a big positive thing in my life that I have people in my comments or texting me that I know enjoy table tennis, to have discussions with them and stuff, even though they're of course on a very different level than I am. I enjoy it, and it makes me happy in the day-to-day basis to have this possibility.
What role do you think that content creation plays in promoting the sport? What do you think that we're doing well? What do you think that we can do better?
Oh, there, of course, content creation now is any way to grow any single subject that you want to grow. So it's insanely important. I'm trying to do my best. I know other players. I know Hugo now is pretty big in Brazil. The French brothers, the Bruins, are doing an amazing job. And if you look at how many new kids started playing table tennis in clubs after their Olympic performance, it's increased insanely much. Also in Sweden with Troels. I mean, already making big results and actually getting some media attention in your country helps that country grow its table tennis population.
Definitely.
And of course, if you put on top of that a lot of players and the tournaments in WTT make things to try and expose it and get some attention to it, I think it's a great combination and it can do a lot.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think Kanak is really setting himself up well for LA 28 now, because he's just recently started doing more like you, where he's making videos, he's talking to the population, he's starting to get, his videos from the Bundesliga and stuff.
Yeah.
I think if he keeps it strong for 4 years and then he hits LA strong, I mean, regardless of whether or not he has an amazing performance, I think Americans will get behind him for sure, just like we've seen in Brazil. After 2016, that's when Hugo started really hitting in Brazil.
Yeah.
And then now we see, the brothers in France. France's table tennis is huge now. So I think we're really setting up for the next 4 years to see a little boom here, for sure. What's your favorite type of table tennis content to watch and also to make?
I don't really watch that much. I like Confinity, I don't want to see like normal matches. Okay, sometimes if there's a big tournament, I will join the chat and I will look at the match and chat a little bit because it's a very good match.
Yeah.
But in general, I'm not going to watch like other people's matches. But I like this Pongfinity video where they use the sport I love. I guess they use their imagination to the fullest of the sport's capabilities, and I enjoy watching what they're doing.
Are you looking to make some content in that same way, or do you think you'll keep more professional stance on table tennis?
I'll keep it mostly professional. I do have some ideas, but the thing is with these videos, like the further away you get from like professional content, the more time it actually requires to set up, time that I don't really have. So when I feel I have it for a time, you will definitely see some very fun things coming from my channel. Okay,
cool. Good to know. We'll be looking out for it. What advice do you have for players looking to grow their online presence in table tennis?
Don't try to be like everyone else. Be yourself. That's the best chance anyone has to make it, because there are so many people doing the same things and the audience is not big enough to actually grow if you do it. So be yourself. Try and do some weird things, some crazy things that could totally be a big flop, but that's also the way that you can, high risk, high reward.
Okay, I think that's really good information. I think I might take that advice to heart. Let's talk a little bit about WTT's recent player-based rule changes. What are your thoughts?
No, it's great.
Everything's good?
Yeah. Every single change they made is, in my opinion, a good change.
Yeah. Do you think that Fan Zhendong and Chen Meng leaving had mostly to do with them making those changes, or do you think this has been a long time coming?
I mean, one of the changes they made is obviously for them. They made a new rule that any Olympic gold winner can directly join the Grand Smash and the Champions with wildcards. Of course, this is for them.
Right.
But for me, I don't have an issue with this, because if they want to come back and play the sport, I feel like they deserve to have a spot. That's my take. Of course, they changed it to best of sevens. This is great. Smashes are no longer mandatory. This is great. And you have 2 champions a year where you can actually withdraw as well without a penalty. So this is all great for the players.
Yeah, I totally agree. How do you think that these are going to impact players in the sport as a whole moving long term?
It's more freedom, if we have our club matches where this is where we get our salary and stuff. If we have club matches that we want to prioritize, then we have now the possibility to do it. We don't have to choose. So I think less stress for the players, for sure.
I also think that this shows that, WTT is starting to work more towards a collaboration with the players. What improvements would you personally like to see in the table tennis scene professionally?
I want to see the seeding system change.
In what way?
There are too few people seeded in the Champions and Smashes. If you're seeded 17, you can get number 1 in the first round. And if you're 54, you can get number 55. For me, this is wrong. And it's about luck and draw and not actual level. So this is, for me, probably actually the biggest thing.
And I don't think it's good for visibility either, because you don't want to see number 1 play number 12 in the first round. You want to see it in the final, or at least quarter, semifinal. I think visibility, it doesn't look good. Or, you get China versus China in round 1, like stuff like that. It's not really what the people want to see. Do you think that there's anything else that could be improved?
Yeah, I mean, the viewing angle, as I said. Of course, this is not so much for actually when you're playing the matches. This is more in general for the spectators, but this, I think, is a huge deal that they need to look into.
I always see people in the comments saying that, when they do polls at the WTT events, people say that they like both equally. Yeah. But I feel like when I'm on YouTube and I'm looking, I'm never seeing that represented in the comments. I'm usually seeing... Almost always it's negative in the comments. Yeah. And I mean, me personally, I definitely prefer the other angle more from the side. The above angle is not great, but I think it shouldn't matter about what I think. I think it should matter about what the whole community obviously thinks, Yeah. If every single person's saying the same thing, there's really there's no argument. Yeah, there's no debate. I want to talk a little bit about and spread a little bit more awareness for the impact of table tennis on your mental and your physical health. How do you think that table tennis has affected you mentally and physically?
In many ways, it's stressful and in moments depressing, but in the other way, it's of course a big part of my life, and I don't know who I would be without it. So it has affected me much more positive than negative, but there are definitely both sides to that story, because it's of course tough and there's a lot of pressure and stuff.
I know a lot of times people don't take it very seriously as an athletic sport, but there's a lot of data to support that table tennis might be one of the healthiest sports for you to play. Do you feel like when you take breaks or when you've had to stop playing in the past, do you feel a difference in your mental clarity and your physical clarity? What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, in January, I had an injury. I didn't practice for a few weeks. And in the Singapore Smash, I was completely both mentally and physically, I was not at all ready, because I had a 3-week break. It's impossible after a few weeks, because you're using every single part of your body. And if you're only 80%, even though you're decently fast and strong, your opponent is very fast and strong, you will have no chance at all. So yeah, it's really important. It's very physically demanding, and of course, for a hobby player as well, it's very good for the body to actually do it, because neurologically, it's also very good for you.
That's kind of one of the things that I want to make more well known here in the United States. We have a lot of people here that are older, disabled, that could really benefit from something like this. But I think that people have the stigma here that table tennis is kind of a basement sport, or like a sport that you play in bars. It's not serious. It's not athletic, But when I'm playing, I have to change my shirt 5 times for one practice, It's a lot more serious than people think. So I definitely want to draw more attention to that. What do you think that more people should play table tennis, just in general?
Do you mean as the goal to enjoy and be an amateur, just to have a hobby, or do you mean to try and go pro?
No, I don't. I think everybody can go pro, at their own level. But I think that we need to have more visibility into reasons that the normal person would pick it up. Obviously, if you want to go pro, you have to start when you're a kid. I feel like YouTube, we're not really advertising to many kids. Not many kids are watching table tennis on YouTube. They're watching cartoons and stuff. Most of the time, people on YouTube watching table tennis are adults that play, hobby playing. So I think we need to draw more attention for the reasons why adults could benefit from playing table tennis at a hobby level. Because I think that's where, most of the viewership is there. We don't really need to talk too much about how to develop the professional scene, because if we develop the hobby scene, the professional kids will come. More dads playing means that more kids will be playing. More moms playing means that their kids will come. They'll be at the club already. The kids will come automatically. But I think as content content creators, what can we do to show people that as an adult with no chance to ever go pro, for sure you're not, what are the reasons that you can come play table tennis?
I think it's the same as playing a lot of other sports on an amateur level, that first of all, it's extremely good to be moving around and playing sport because it's healthy for your body, it's good for your brain, it's good for everything about staying healthy as a person. Of course, if you don't think it's a fun sport, maybe not, but if you go to a club with your friends and you have a competition and you see who's best and you are fighting against each other, no matter if you like the sport or not, you're going to enjoy playing it. If you do that, maybe it can build and grow to something. So I would say on that stage, both for the social but also for the health benefits that it can give.
And I think that's really just the message needs to be to the adults as much as we can, in this, especially as table tennis content creators, we really need to be focusing on the hobby population, the adult hobby players.
Yes.
Those are the ones that truly are going to drive the sport to new heights. They're going to, if we can get them to spread their journeys, talk to other people, bring their friends, I think this is very important. So for closing, final thoughts, where can people follow your journey?
There's a few places. I mean, there's the league, Bundesliga, the German league, same as Kanak. There's the WTT, of course. And then, my videos, I guess that's where you're going to be able to follow me.
Do you know your YouTube handle off the top of your head?
My name and then TT.
Do you have any final messages for young players, fans of table tennis watching this video?
Yeah, just if you're playing table tennis, I suggest that you do everything in your power to make sure you enjoy it. Every time you're in the hall, it's because you want to be there, not because someone else has made you be there. When you're playing table tennis, make sure that you are there because you enjoy it, not because someone made you be there. And give your all in the hall. If you're an amateur or trying to go pro, make sure that you try your best in every practice. And if you don't play table tennis, give it a shot. You might like it.
My final question for you personally is, if you could only say one thing for somebody trying to learn your strawberry shot, what is the one tip you would give us?
You're born with it, or you will never be able to do it.
Okay, good answer. You guys make sure to follow Anders on Anders Lind TT on YouTube. He's making a lot of good stuff. He's one of the only pros that's consistently posting, so you guys make sure to follow. Thanks so much for your time, man.
Thanks for the chat, mate. See you
No
around.
problem. See you.